And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have an incredibly exciting panel discussion coming up all about Asia's rise as a hub for startup accelerators and incubators. Please join me in welcoming our moderators and panelists on stage, starting with our moderator for this panel, Ms. Janie Yee, the Regional Business Development Manager of Acclaim. Put your hands together for our moderator in a massive round of applause. Joining her, we have Mr. Rashad Kabara, the founder and CEO of Cognexity AI. Joining them, we have Ms. Geeta Bhosle, the Vice President of TrueBoard Partners. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Muhammad Abu Jafal, the Managing Director of Levatech. Put your hands together in a massive round of applause for our panelists.
Afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. I think it's always tricky to take the post-lunch panel, but we hope that there's some interesting insights for all of you that will keep you through this post-lunch dip. So I'm the moderator for the panel. I'm Janie. I'm market entry advisor based in Singapore. I help startups navigate the diverse regulatory and market landscape, and I will be guiding through this panel today. And so we will be diving into some of the most exciting shifts in global entrepreneurship, Asia's rapid rise as a powerhouse for accelerators, innovators, and incubators. It's a region that is defined by massive market access, regulatory diversity, and some of the world's fastest growing digital economies. And in the middle of all this momentum is accelerators and incubators, and they play a critical role providing mentorship, investor networks, and market readiness they need to navigate this complexity and scale across borders. And our conversations today will unpack what makes Asia such a magnet for early stage ventures, from unique accelerators, early stage accelerator models, as well as founder capabilities to funding shifts, cross-border challenges and trends shaping the next decade of innovation. And our panel here, I'm excited to introduce to you. We'll be exploring these themes. They come from UAE, India, Jordan, and they are deeply embedded in these ecosystems. I'd like to hand this over to the panel to introduce themselves. Rashad?
Hi, excited indeed about the topic today. So Rashad Kabara, I am the founder and CEO of Cognexity AI. Cognexity is a company based in Dubai. And what we do, basically, we build self-development apps. So we bring self-development and self-improvement apps to the world. We take information overwhelm and we make it accessible to everyone who wants to become better at doing self-development. My journey comes from a long 2 decades in tech. So I started my journey in the UK. I built robotics systems, software systems, quite complicated systems. And what I think I bring to the panel today, I'm hoping to bring some insights about how the ecosystem of startups is different between Western Europe and Asia. As I started my company earlier this year, I think this is very close to home for me. So I'm hoping to build some insights in the area.
Hey everyone, good evening. My name is Geeta Bhosle, and I'm a vice president in a fintech startup called TrueBoard Partners. I have an experience of about two decades, and as I am a part of a startup which is in India, so I would be talking about the prop tech and the fintech part and how the accelerators and incubators are helping us to grow that.
Hi everyone, my name is Muhammad Abu Jaffa. I'm managing director and founder of Levatech. Levatech is specialized in the media monitoring tools. I'm from Jordan. I'm based there, and as Rashad, I'm also been working in the industry for 20 years, building applications and enterprise websites. And today I'm hoping to give you an insight from an early stage founder on how Accelerators is expanding in the region.
Well, now that all of you have a bit of a background of the panelists, I'd like to start with our first question for Geeta. Any factors that have contributed to Asia emerging as a fast-growing hub for startup accelerators and incubators the last decade?
Yeah, so I think I'll talk more about the PropTech and the FinTech and how it is affected, mainly in India. Like we have regulatories like RERA, which is there in Dubai as well. And they have formed rules and compliances where they say that you have to do digitization of everything, all the documents, land documents, due diligence, everything. So that has been the major factor for, the growth of PropTechs and FinTechs for in India. Second is nowadays the customers are expect a lot. They want all digital payments or they want visual to virtual tours and such facilities. So there is a customer expectation also, which has increased the uh, what do you say the need for such proptechs and fintechs in India. The next is I think these two, and then yes, we have to have a better construction management softwares. ESG is booming in India, and other such factors which lead to the growth of such startups, the need of such startups, and that's the reason why the accelerators and incubators are there.
I think separately, just adding on a little bit to that, the couple of factors also that I've noticed within the Singapore context in Southeast Asia, it's the combination of large, rapidly adopting markets, supportive regulatory frameworks, particularly for Singapore and Hong Kong, and an increasingly sophisticated investor ecosystem is also starting up within Asia. For Singapore in particular, you have the Singapore government, they're providing a lot of mentorship and injecting funds into the ecosystem. And when you looking into entering a market like Singapore, you can access and expect entities such as Startup Singapore and grants from Enterprise Singapore that you can explore. And so to the next question, what sectors are seeing the strongest accelerator-driven growth in Asia right now?
So I can speak for the region because I'm based here. So let's talk about Western Asia, so to speak. I think from when I started earlier this year, it's quite prominent that fintech still has quite a strong track in growing. There's a lot of support from the government. The regulation is definitely in favor of fintech. And I don't think this has fizzled out or died out or is going to die out anytime soon. So fintech is definitely on the rise. Digital payments are becoming more and more prominent and easier, more easily accessible to startups. So that's helping as well. Like I said, government regulation is definitely helping in that regard. On the other hand, PropTech seems to be making quite a strong, well, it's not entrance really, but kind of like getting on board with where things are going. We're seeing a lot of PropTech startups trying to make the journey easier for people trying to either like buy a house or rent a house or whatever. I think this region, and it might be true for Asia as well, can do with a lot of revamping of the user journey when it comes to dealing with property. So a lot of people are getting on board with that. A lot of startups are looking at that as well. I would say health tech and self-development. I have to say this because I'll deal with self-development. But truly, I think everybody's turning internally now, especially that we've got AI doing everything for us, powering everything up. People are starting to realize that it's becoming more important than ever to work on oneself. So I think self-development and health tech are making they're giving the other sectors quite a good competition. And again, this is a region where all of these topics are, it's a region which is ripe for all of these topics to grow, is what I'm trying to say. And there's definitely a lot of backing in these different things. I think these are the main three areas I can think about.
For Geeta, do you have anything that you like to share?
Yeah, so very recently, my company uh, published an article with one of the accelerators in India. It's called HDFC Bank. And they said that in that article, they said that around the market cap for prop techs and construction techs is around $4.6 billion, which is like a whooping amount, right? And so why not? There has to be startups which will take the uh, difficult points. Like, for example, nowadays, when it comes to 3D printed construction structures, right, which are being used by the Indian government um, um, army, they are being used. And so there are companies who are doing that. Then there is this construction management, very cool construction management softwares which are there, where they say that you just have to wear a hat which is mounted with a camera. And there is a BIM, which is the structure of the building. And just by the visual which is captured by the hat, you, you can figure out whether you're going according to the plan or is there a deviation. That's like a cool way of construction management, right? The other parts is ESG, yes. In India, we say that around 40% of commercial properties are going to be converted to ESG-driven properties. So that's like a big ask. And yes, the government is also doing a lot. They are supporting, like, as on today, there are 100 smart cities in India. Then there are initiatives which have been done by the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Modi, and which supports all this narrative. And that's the reason, and those are the sectors where the incubators and accelerators are much needed. Someone who can mentor them and show the path how to go forward.
Next question then. What are some of the biggest challenges Asian accelerators face in terms of talent, regulatory complexity, market fragmentation, or any cross-border scaling? Mohammed?
I would say market fragmentation because Asia is not a single market. Every country has a different regulation. Their customers behave differently, and they work in a different ways. So accelerators that works or have programs, for example, in Singapore or India, might differently turns to a different playbooks when it comes to Jordan or the Gulf in that region. The second challenge, I would say, the talent retention, and it's a big challenge, especially in emerging markets like Jordan, which comes at advantage where we have like a cost advantage, but at the same time it's a challenge because we could lose these talents that would help us scale fast to global competitions where they have more competing offers for these talents. That's the main two challenges I would think so.
Rashad, do you have anything to add? Right, we'll move on then. How are corporate accelerators influencing the startup ecosystem in Asia? Are they complementing or competing with traditional models?
Okay, I'm going to talk about a few of the accelerators and the incubators in India, right? There is this accelerator called SDFC Parivartan, which is like infusing like $24 million in the market. And they are aiming to raise or motivate or show the path for almost 300 startups by 2030. That's like a big path to go about. Yeah. There is I think the Asia's first real estate accelerator program was done by a corporate called Brigade. That is the one company which is a corporate company in India, and they are raising around. So have you heard about a company called Square Yards? Right, this is one of the companies for construction management across the world, and the Brigade company is the one who, who was the incubator for this company, and so there are so many examples which where I think in India the reason for incubators and accelerators is there, right? I think in a long, like for me, my company, True Partners, we were not funded by an incubator, but we are a long-term strategic partner for one of the accelerators. So that is also another path which these accelerators and incubators are looking at, because they invest in the balance sheet of the company, and they don't have to worry about the exit timelines. So that also is a good way to go about. I guess when it comes to Asia, particularly in India, um, it's a hub for startups, not because or despite its challenges, but because the challenges are huge and unavoidable. The government is saying you have to do an X thing, and people don't have the solutions for that. That's where the startups come into picture. So that's how it is.
I think I have a bit to add on here as well. For the Singapore landscape, you do see these actually complementing traditional accelerator models. In Singapore, you have corporates such as DBS, Singtel, Capital, and some of these are state invested private sector companies as well. They run innovation labs and corporate accelerator programs that actually gives startups something that VCs and traditional accelerators can't. Some of these include direct access to real customers themselves, their own customers, industry data, and commercial pathways. Really helps plug startups into the large enterprise ecosystems and validate their solutions a lot faster. This really helps with faster GTM for these startups. Just on the next question then, how is Asia positioning itself as a global launchpad for startups, especially for founders from Europe, Africa, and US that are looking to move into this region?
So this is an interesting question. I think one of the main things which the region provides, which you'll see different to the startup ecosystem in Western Europe, is it just feels much easier when you're here to get to a certain idea or to say, I'm going to start something up. So when I was back in Europe, London is a thriving ecosystem of startups, that's for sure. But you feel that the entry level into that is always like there's a barrier. You always have to make a few steps to get into there. When you come to Asia, it just feels like it's a natural extension to how people already think and behave on a daily basis. So that makes it a very good place for startups to thrive, which kind of brings all the knowledge and the information into one central place, which kind of paves the way for other startups then to pick up and run for the next generation of ideas or startups or the new things that are going to happen. So the main difference that I've seen between the startup ecosystem in Western Europe and here is just the ability to find it easy and be encouraged to start something up and find someone who's done it before and just kind of pick up on where they left off and continue and try to improve on it.
Yeah, I think, and plus we are much cheaper.
Fantastic. All right, then what makes Asia unique for early stage founders in terms of market size, speed of adoption, cost advantages, or are there any cultural factors that people can consider?
Yeah, I think that will add to what Rashad said, that Asia gives the founders what they look for, what they value most, which is speed. And that's different from the Western markets. Here in Asia, I feel it's more faster to just try ideas, iterate over existing ideas. And we mentioned before the cost is also, there's a cost advantage. Also, sometimes it may be a challenge. But here in the market, especially in Jordan, it's more cost effective and more affordable to just try, as I said, a new idea or operate or even go to market faster. I don't have to have like thousands or millions to just start selling to the local market.
Would you mind sharing a little bit as to the ecosystem in Jordan in terms of private sector injections
Yeah,
or
definitely. I
government
mean,
services?
there's a really good push from the government to accelerator programs. We have a ministry specialized for this, the Digital Transformation Ministry. that help youth, especially to start their own business. And there's also a lot of partnership with global organizations like USAID and Europe organizations as well that I think European Growth Bank or something like that, that can fund these ideas, especially in fintech and in healthcare. That will gives a lot of push as well to the people of Jordan. Also, we have really success stories that a lot of our startups got exit with they get acquired from global companies like Yahoo, for example, bought Maktub, which was the first Arabic society websites back in the 90s. And also we have one of the biggest game development company in the region, Tomaten. So we have a lot of success stories based on that, which gives hope for new founders and new generation as well.
Amazing. So, all right, off to the next question. What trends will define the next 5 years of accelerator incubator growth in Asia for AI first programs, cross-border cohorts, government-backed innovation zones, or anything similar to those? Rashad?
Thank you. So I think one of the trends that we will definitely see is more collaboration between startups and big companies. So big companies have finally identified that they're dealing with something which is a little bit bigger than everyone, called AI. And what's better than startups to actually keep up with the speed of the AI development? And I think this is being at the heart of a lot of the initiatives that we're seeing now. Companies, big companies especially, they are realizing that to compete, they need to offload a lot of what they do internally, normally, to startups, even with all the risk that comes with it. So they benefit from the speed of iteration. Like Mohammed was saying, when you're dealing in a startup, the mantra is always try fast and fail faster, right? This is not something that you afford to do in a big company. So you offload that risk to a startup. But also you can work hand in hand with their pool of talent, because startups tend to attract talent that the big corporations cannot attract normally. So that's, I think, one of the biggest trends that I can think of in terms of going forward for the next 5 years. A lot more collaboration with startups and kind of focusing on incubators and accelerators to get things tested quickly so that big corporates know how to steer the big ship.
Just quickly to add on to that, in terms of government funding, I mean, there's so much that they can do. I think it's fantastic that most of the money actually sits with the private sector, that they are actually coming in and supporting a lot of these startups. As you said, over the years, the solutions and it's getting layered and layered, and it's very difficult for some of these big companies to actually be very agile and have the right talent to be innovative and move quick enough. So fantastic, Rashad. Just after the last question then, Mohammed, what should founders look for when choosing an accelerator in Asia? And how can they maximize value from such programs?
These days, we have more accelerators and more programs, making a lot more than we need. And I've seen a lot of examples where startups just get into multiple accelerator programs and get out of nothing. Because most of these focuses only on training, like marketing training or sales training. Although it's essential, but it's not what most founders need. Like what I need is show me how to get to the market, show me how to start fast, show me how to get my customers. So my advice to founders is to first decide what you need from that program, and doesn't matter what the goal is. It depends on you and your need, whether it's your first customer or like expansion if you already have customers. And based on that, you treat the accelerator program as your strategic partner to achieve that goal. Don't just go into shiny programs that might not work for you.
Do you think some of these programs actually truly understand the needs of these startups?
Not all the time. Yeah, sometimes it's just like a standard program that organizations do, especially in non-profit organization where they just have like a playbook and they think it will fit every single founder out there.
Yeah, I was just saying, I don't think the startups themselves know what they want. So it's quite difficult to to give them what they want, because you know it's a discovery process, isn't it? So you go into a startup, and you raised, by the way, to ensure that you define the value that you want to get out of any endeavor that you take before you throw yourself into it. But I think in the spirit of try fast and fail faster, I think that's also another thing that startups do. They throw themselves into an incubator or accelerator program. They realize that this is not for them. You know, no harm done. They just go to the next one that now aligns better with the values that they're trying to get out.
Yeah, and sometimes the problem that they know what they want, but the accelerator will not give them. Like I've seen a lot of complaints from founders that I don't know another training. I just need the money to pay my team to try it and expand. But most of the program, I don't know, maybe because of they're trying to um, fight corruption or something, they don't give money to the founders. They just give programs or trainings or have that budget spent in certain ways.
Some of these accelerators is also for scalability, right? They want a one-size-fit-all solution so they can quickly sift through some of these startups.
I think I disagree with you there. Sorry. But in India, like we have incubators like ICICI Bank, and the whole goal of them is to choose 25 startups and invest in them. Obviously, 100 will come and 25 are chosen, but they do invest in them. And it is also a very good place to collaborate with other startups. That also has benefited us many times.
Sometimes over time, some of these pain points do show up, the gaps that show up within the ecosystem. So maybe what we need is a middleman to match startups with accelerators. So there's always additional roles for people if you come in and solve a particular problem. I think that's pretty much all from the panel. I think thank you all for the sharp insights. So what is clear is that Asia's speed, skill, and diversity, combined with strong accelerator and incubator support, are creating one of the most powerful early stage startup ecosystems in the world. And we encourage all of you to venture into Asia. And we look forward to assisting all of you to scale here in Asia. Thank you for your time. I think we're supposed to open the floor up for questions. Are there any questions from the audiences?
This is a question to the panel. Hi, I'm Shoma. I'm from India. As a startup founder, is it good to get into any form? Am I audible? Any accelerator program, or look for the programs who are invested in the niche as a founder?
Yes, definitely. You want to so whatever partnership you're going into, if you're a startup founder and you are trying to find an accelerator, or later on you're in your investment round or whatever, so you're going to get people on board who are walking this journey with you. And I think if you think about it this way, it's you want to align with people who are doing things which matter to them as much as they matter to you. And as long as you've got that value alignment, it almost doesn't matter. Like you could find success in accelerator that does things which are not completely within what you're trying to apply to the market, but they get your pain point and they know how to resolve issues for you and give you the resources that you need to access to succeed. That's more important than going to an accelerator that has the right title or name or just happens to have the other startup that does what you do. Just to kind of like always be people centric, always look at who is that person that I'm taking this journey with within the accelerator program, and do they get me? And I think that's the most important question.
Thank you so much.
So, sorry. So basically, the question you should ask yourself is that, are the accelerators or the incubators going to be your first client when they choose you? That's what is happening in India. Like they become the clients, the first clients.
Mohammed?
Any other questions? No, I think we can
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this panel. I've got a question. I'm a startup. I'm Renault, by the way. I'm based in UK and between the UK and France. If I were to move into one of those beautiful countries that you're talking about or different regions, like what should I look for? What's the first thing that I should look for in order to move into one of these regions?
I think almost all countries in Asia, do you fit the governance and the compliance part? If you can complete that, and usually it doesn't take that much time. If you can do that, then yes, why not?
Also, you need maybe to measure if you have already a product to see if what's the market for it. Do you have a market for it in the region? If it's already global, then maybe it's you already started in a new region. So it needs to be adapted to whatever regulations or culture this region has.
I'd like to add one more point to that. I think look for places where you see a lot of incentives. So I took that approach myself. So I said before that I was in the UK for 20 years and I came here. I'm fairly new to Dubai, so now I'm based in Dubai. One of the things which kind of stood out when I decided where to establish my company and to start the journey when I had no idea what I'm doing was where is the funding for incentives, or like where are the things being made easier for me? Because that's a very good indicator that people are paying attention to that particular hub or incubator or accelerator or whatever program you're looking to get into. If that program is getting attention and it's giving you incentives as the startup founder, it means there's a chain of things happening behind the scene of attention, of funding that will come later. And I can tell you, I never regretted the decision of establishing my company where I did, based on that metric alone, like how much incentive there is to come to that place. Because of the back of it, there's so much value that came ensuing later, which I didn't know was there. It just happened naturally. So I think it's a very, very good thing, and you have to be careful about where you position yourself. Once you get yourself into one ecosystem, you are getting the whole package. And it might make the difference between you being demoralized and not finding any traction or movement. You know, like you're excited, you come to the region, like you want to start something new, everything's exciting, but if nothing goes forward or you don't gain any traction where you are, there are no incentives, no events, no nothing, then that's just kind of fizzle out. So you want a place where it's exciting, and that is normally measured by how many incentives there are to bring you there.
I think you can also be part of the different expos which that country is doing. Like in India, we have this PropTech and FinTech Expo, which is in March 2026, where around 300 startups are going to participate. So if you want to test the waters, just go out there and check it out.
On that bit on incentives, I think we want to look at depths of ecosystem, exactly what he said. It's not just that there's hustle bustle in a particular countries, but countries like Singapore, obviously the regulatory landscape is very supportive of all of this. You can come in, ease of business, $1 startup capital, you can get your business set up and you can start running. But also the fact that if you go into Singapore, for example, to a particular accelerator, but you don't make it, a lot of people are visible in the area. A lot of people are able to help you out. You can jump accelerator to accelerator. There's still other VCs that are around. There's Sequoia has individual scouts that actually can pull investment and match investment from Sequoia. So there's a whole ecosystem there, and people and investors are all right next to you. Customers are right next to you. It's a very concentrated place for business, which I feel is a great place for you to understand Asia. If Asia is where you want to, Southeast Asia in particular, and East Asia, you want to move into Hong Kong, is a good way into North Asia. But yeah, I think that's something that you want to look into, the ecosystem that's in particular countries to help you support you through that.
Very clear, thank you.
Other questions?
Hello. Yes, so myself, Yashdeep, I am a founder of AI PropTech startup. So now seeing the whole AI ecosystem and the working of AI prop tech in the real estate ecosystem. My question is, there are lots of resistant, or I would say adoption friction among the user for which the AI tool is being made. Like I have developed a tool for the real estate developer in which they can get all the data analytics in a dashboard form, and we are integrating AI agent. But then again, there is lot of friction in terms of adoption, and they cannot be able to change their mindset. So my question is this: how can accelerator help us in reducing the friction, and how long would it take for the whole ecosystem, and when I say ecosystem, I would say accelerator and incubator ecosystem, to have that linkage with the market? Because somewhat I see the accelerator and incubator, since I am being incubated by, since I am, hello, okay, since I am being incubated by IIT Bombay also, so I see that it's little theoretical in nature, not the industry academia linkage is poor. So how would the accelerator and incubator would help us in maintaining that linkage so that we can make product which is going to be widely adopted by the industry? Okay, so
Essentially, the accelerators understand the market and are they able to match you with customers?
I can start. I'll pass it on. I promise. Thank you for the question first of all. So from what you said, I picked up on one main thing, which is maybe there's potential misalignment with what you're offering to the market. So friction comes from the people not seeing the value in what you're offering, right? That's the definition of friction. Friction of adoption is someone doesn't want to use the product that you're offering because they don't potentially see the value, or maybe they feel it's a little bit too complicated for them. So to answer your question directly, how can an accelerator or incubator or someone who's got the experience in the market and they know what a go-to-market strategy should look like, and to remove friction for you, they would help you pinpoint where you are not completely aligned with the need in the market. So I'm not saying that what you're offering is not needed. I'm just saying the way that you're positioning it in the market might be a little bit off, and that creates friction. So you're right, you probably need someone who's done it before, because they would have probably gone through the same pain themselves or helped another startup overcome this pain. But that's kind of like my advice to you. My advice to you is to talk with someone. It doesn't have to be an incubator, by the way. You can just talk to another startup founder who managed to overcome the same thing, and just try and get them to pinpoint where in your value proposition there are gaps which are not completely filling the need in the market that you're proposing your solution to.
I think we face that exact same problem. I would tell you how we solved it. So for our product, like True Genie is the product name, and this product serves the lenders and the real estate developers as well, right? It was easy to click with the lenders because we had the connect and the reach. In India, it's very important to have the connects. But when it came to developers, we were not able to do it. So what we did is we first figured out who the developer depends on. In this case, the lenders who are funding them the money, and the prop techs who are publishing their properties on their website, or to market them. So we reached those two, and we said, okay, you tell your developers to take our product, and that's how we solved it, and that helped. Yeah.
so basically, you are saying that if the client is not accepting it directly, then we
Figure
have
out
to
who the client
figure out
listens
the
to.
way through approaching the enablers of the
Yeah,
client in
yeah.
the same ecosystem.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
Just to add on that point, and together with a question from the other lady, you have every right to spend time to interview these accelerators as well. They're not entitled to you, you're entitled to choosing them as well. So do take time to learn about what they specialize in, what their niche is? Do they truly understand the market? Are they here just for the fluff? I think it's entirely your right to figure that out. And you can ask those questions. We have another question on this side, yeah? Where's the microphone?
Hi. My question is actually an extension of what the lady here first started and what the gentleman just pursued. I'm Ankit, and I'm currently building Nova Labs, wherein we build agentic AI solutions for institutional finance, and we are based out of India currently. Given a vast network of accelerators and vast number of accelerators and incubators today, let's say, as you rightly mentioned, it's a two-way partnership that we enter into as a founder and as a potential accelerator. And the one thing that accelerators and incubators promise a founder is the networks that they have and the sort of expertise that they could help us scale our product to a different level, right? These so-called networks, given the vast number of these accelerators, are mostly overlapping. So what is that one question that a founder could ask these incubators to actually judge if that network of theirs is real and it could be helpful in the partnership moving forward?
I mean, don't forget that they're going to be your partners. So their networks matter for them as much as it matters for you. But maybe you can have like your product or like pitch slides or a demo for this networks. And maybe you can get not exactly names of the people they promised to bring to you, but at least their sectors, where they're coming from, what they actually need. And you can measure if your product will be a good fit for them.
I think this one is a really interesting question, but like when we went to the accelerators and the incubators, the first thing we asked was, what are the other startups like us whom you have invested in? Please give us their names. And then we connected with them and figured out how much the investment was done and all that. So yeah, that helped.
I think one more thing, we've said this in the panel already, but flip this on its head and imagine that you're recruiting them into your company. And I think that's the most useful way to think about it. If you frame it this way, you are actually screening them to see what value they're going to bring to you. If they don't understand that, they're probably not the right partner, but most do. And when they do understand that they need to bring value to the table as much as you do, I think you need to ask them the question, what have you done recently with another startup that exploited the network and that brought a huge value? But it also depends on what you're looking to get out of their network as well. Because if it's market reach or exposure, just ask that specific question. Give me an example of something you've done for a company within your ecosystem that recently leveraged your network and it had massive return on investment, or like massive return. So just be the interviewer, basically. Get yourself in your interviewing seat and ask the questions that you need to ask.
Interesting. Thank you so much. I've actually got 3 questions. Yeah.
Are there any other questions on the floor?
Hi everyone, I'm Rohan Mahajan. We run a venture studio and an innovation lab based out of Mumbai, India. My question largely is more of a future take, right, from all of you guys. Looking at what the world is moving towards in terms of AI adoption, how do you guys see the business models of incubators, accelerators largely changing in almost a decade to come, right? And how do you guys think venture studio or an incubator or an accelerator could actually like make the right moves to sort of adopt or change per se starting today? Just like get to the curve, what's coming next?
Yeah, I can get started. I'll get started. So I think the first thing to say, I think we all know that there's AI hype, and the hype is fizzling out now a little bit, right? Like everybody now understands that AI started out as this big thing and it's a hype, and now we all know that there's a little bit of a pain in adopting AI. So in terms of the trends that we're going to see going forward in incubators, one of the things that I can think of is focus on bringing real value. And what I'm seeing, maybe including my own company, actually thinking about my startup, because we started out with, yeah, we want to do AI this, AI that, and then the real question came like, what is the real value that you're bringing to your customers? So I think a lot of it will become, what are we trying to fix with AI, right? And maybe you don't need AI to fix it, and that's okay. And a lot of people are shying away to saying, no, I'm not going to fix it with AI. But a lot of digital transformation that has been very successful didn't include AI until the recent years, right? Now, we all have to be careful about adopting things which are making a huge impact, especially if it's getting your competitor ahead of you in the curve, because you don't want to miss out. But at the same time, getting fanatic about implementing a technology because it's the next best thing doesn't make sense. So it always has to align with the value that you're bringing. So I think always bring it back to what value is it going to provide, and you'll see that this is the new trend in the innovators and the incubators in the region. They're trying to get real value out of AI adoption rather than just the AI adoption itself.
I think I have an interesting answer to this one. So the incubators, like we went and said the first product which we made was AI-based compliance management, document extraction, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And we took it to the lender and he said, I don't want it. I do not believe you can do that. Okay. And then he asked, what is your accuracy? And then we said, approximately 75%. I need 90%. There's no data there to, get that percentage, right? So I guess we just have to walk the path. All the incubators and the accelerators are like both of saying that, yeah, we are funding startups which are AI enabled and all that, but we are not there yet. I think another 5 years or so.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've also seen like recently there's more move on using AI in law firms. Like a few years back, everyone is looking for fintech apps, but maybe now it's a little bit more mature and they're trying to use AI in law firms and advices and maybe contracting as well. So yeah, we might see more of these startups coming up.
Interesting that you mentioned law firms because I do work a lot with them and they do talk about trying to introduce AI solutions. But sometimes when I speak to them, I realize that it doesn't need a complex solution. Sometimes it's just process efficiency and simple technology can solve for it. Simple solutions. Not everything is specifically AI driven. Of course, I'm sure there's space for it, but focus on the pain points, exactly as you said. Keep your eye on truly what is the pain point at that point and how you can solve for it. Does not necessarily require complex solutions. Yeah, I think we are slowly running out of time. Maybe one more question if there is. Otherwise, we will close this panel. Yes, we're good. Okay, we'll end the panel then. Thank you all very much for your time.